Heyo folks, this is Ham the Guinness Gamer bringing you episode 6 of my Civilization 6 Complete Beginner's Guide. Starting off where we ended the last turn. Once I pop this turn across, it'll bring us to where we stopped. What do we have to do? So we have just produced a nice little archer, have we? We think no, this guy was just upgraded, so I've just upgraded him. I'm gonna leave him in the city fortified to help defend this city from future barbarian incursions. This guy has now fully healed, this warrior. I'm maybe gonna send him across in this direction just for a bit of exploration. They're not the best units at exploring, but when I have my city fairly well defended with this archer, I feel like I can send him out at least temporarily. Same with this slinger. I'm gonna bring him out and explore with him. Now this is interesting. I've said before about barbarians being able to capture your builders and your settlers. This is a barbarian scout that has captured a builder. Now what I imagine, who I imagine that builder used to belong to was Kumasi, and obviously the barbarian stole it. Now I might be able to get this. What I can do is I can kill that scout with my slinger, and then if I'm able to move a unit on top of it, I can recapture that builder. Even though it wasn't originally my builder, I can recapture it. I can bring it back to my capital, and I can upgrade some of the tiles with them. So that would be a great acquisition, because in this early game it's pretty easy. Pretty easy to not have enough builders, and builder charges are pretty they use a decent amount of turns to actually produce them as well. And as you've seen in previous videos, turns in this early game, because I've only got one city, there's 5 different things that I could be producing at any one time. So if we can manage to steal a builder, that'll help matters massively. Now we have just completed a civic. This is state workforce, and what this unlocks, a big thing this unlocks, it unlocks a couple of policies here. That's not a bad one, actually, plus 15% production towards wonders. Unit maintenance reduced by 1 gold per turn per unit. That's pretty good if when we go down the attacking route, so that'll be nice, the military conquest route. But the big thing here is this government plaza. A district placed once in your empire to commemorate your government choices, provides plus 8 loyalty per turn to the city, and an increase of plus 1 to the adjacency bonuses being earned by any adjacent district. Awards plus 1 governor title. So governor title will be huge, because that'll increase this guy in our city. But it mentions loyalty there. I haven't discussed loyalty in any of these videos yet, but I will. Once we reach the stage where it's easier explained, because we've unlocked a bit more. That'll become clear in time. For now, I'm just gonna push this guy towards. Oh, looks like that archer's probably gonna reclaim their builder, but we'll see what happens. Next civic to go for. Now this is big. We could go for either of these. What's that get? Flanking bonus. Nah, cavalry, games or recreation. What I'm going to go for is political philosophy. Even though we don't have the Eureka for it, we could get the Eureka for it soon, meet 3 city-states, because we have met 2 in Zanzibar and Kumasi. For now I'm going to go for this. What this will do is this unlocks new government types. Again, I will discuss this more once we actually get there with the unlocking. But if you look up here at government there, right now we're at the basic government type which is chiefdom, and that's the only one we have. It's the one you start with, and that's the one that allows you to have these 2 policies that we picked towards the start. Now you can see we have unlocked a considerable more policies than when we picked these. I'm just going to run through these briefly, see if there's any I would like to put in. Now if we get towards the time where we're producing settlers, I think I'll put that one in, plus 50% production towards settlers, because that'll be a lot more than just this plus 1 production. But this thing, political philosophy, it will unlock the next 3 government types ahead of chiefdom. If you look here, chiefdom's the first one, and it gets you the red policy, military policy, and the yellow one. Each of these, which is the 3 that political philosophy will unlock, classical republic, oligarchy, and autocracy, these all unlock 4 policy slots. Now depending on which one you pick, there's different policy slots for each. There's also bonuses to them that chiefdom doesn't have. But again, I will get through those in more detail once we reach in 22 turns, once we actually unlock them, and I'll discuss what I'm picking and why I'm picking. For now, because we've unlocked that last civic, we can now upgrade our one governor. Technically we can appoint another governor, but right now there's no point doing that because we don't have another city to put them in. So all I'm going to do is upgrade this guy, promote this guy. So what this offers us the option of, and I've discussed this before, settlers trained in the city do not consume a population, and because I'm getting really close to the settler production stage, I'm going to pick this. This one is also really fantastic, plus 20% growth in the city. Your trade routes ending here provide plus 2 food to their starting city, so that'll be the next thing I do. And the reason for that is I'll fire out a couple of settlers, settle a couple of cities, and then I'll start saying I'll upgrade the amount of trade routes I can have, and I'll start to send a trade route from each of my new cities to the capital. And by that time, this guy will be upgraded, and I'll have this as well. So this will be increasing the 20% growth in the capital, which is fantastic. But then the trade routes ending here, providing plus 2 food to their starting city. So I'll send the trade routes from the new city to the capital, and the new city will get plus 2 food as well, which will be huge in a brand new city, because you seen at the start when I was looking at my capital and talking about my capital, I think my very first turn I had maybe plus 5 food total, and that's because I actually had some good tiles to work, like these farm tiles. So plus 2 on top of plus 5 is massive. So I'm going to bounce on through the turns here. I heal this guy probably. Next turn we're researching the wheel. That guy did just steal back that builder, which is no surprise. So I'm just going to use this slinger. I'm just going to kill this scout, because why not? We might make Kumasi like me a bit. Ultimately I might attack them, but it does no harm for them to like me in this stage. This warrior is fully healed. There's not much more for him to explore over here, so I'm just going to send him back to the city. And end your turn. Wheel, yeah, I'm researching the wheel for the watermill, that's right. And this guy, let's see what he can explore this way. This guy is healing. Okay, here's a couple of turns of not much happening, and as per usual, there's probably going to be a turn in a couple of turns where everything happens. Just gonna let him rest here for now, that warrior. Again, next turn. So how many turns are we from the next era? Okay. Oh, okay. I'll explain that in a second. For now, we have an enemy encampment that we've stumbled right on, so I'm just going to launch a couple of not swingers, they're something very different. Slinger hits at this camp. And right, next turn. Now, if he doesn't heal or spawn another unit, I might actually be able to kill him next turn with my slinger. And then the turn after that, I should be able to actually move in. So again, if I clear that beside Kumasi, they'll be very happy. Again, here's another one up here. These barbarian camps are everywhere, but they're weak, so clearly Kumasi has been attacking them. Now I've managed to research the wheel, which is good. It unlocks the watermill, which we eventually build in our capital. For now, what are our options and what do we want? Find a natural wonder currency, make a trade route maybe. Get our gold up. Our gold's okay for now. Engineering. Decisions. Possibly horses. Faith. Wall. Ancient walls gives our city a bit of a... Yeah, I'm going to go for that. Masonry allows us to actually build the ancient walls around our city. And again, I'll explain this in greater detail once I actually build them, but what that allows is for your city to actually fire. It says here, walls allow range strikes from the city centre and encampment district. We haven't built an encampment yet, but allows range strikes, so you don't technically need a unit in your city. Your city can just attack itself once, if there's any enemy units within a tile of it. But if you also have an archer, then your archer can attack and your city can attack, and it means you're absolutely hammering any enemy units each turn. Right one, so I'm going to go for that. It also says the Eureka moment is build a quarry, and as it happens I do actually have a stone tile here, and if I'm not working it yet, but I may upgrade it anyway just to get that Eureka for masonry. So where's my builder? Do I have anything else I want to use him for? Possibly, but I'm going to build a quarry anyway and give us that Eureka. And now next turn. Now we are closing in. I can't actually. I wonder. I'm struggling to explore here anymore. I don't think Zanzibar will actually let me walk through the region, will it? They might. We'll see. This guy, there we go. You clear that barbarian encampment. Good lad. 50 free gold from me. And we have 2 turns before producing Edamananki. Now it looks pretty promising that we're actually going to get to build this wonder, which is great. I can't. Okay, I'm going to run around here. 1 turn, so let's see. There's our, oh, there's our another city-state, so there we go. We just got the Eureka moment for political philosophy. Excellent. Okay, can we kill him? Clearing out barbarian encampments for fun here now. That's what they get for messing with me. Now that's that cleared. Next turn, and we're about to build Edamananki, so we're going to get a nice, oh, this units attacking us, but we should be good. What's that, a scout, is it? Nah, scrub.
Come, let us build ourselves a city.
So you get these nice wee cutscenes when you build wonders,
so that
which I think are pretty cool.
Name for ourselves.
And a little bit of talking by Sean Bean himself. So we have built that, and if you remember, that will give us extra production and possibly extra science. Yes, extra science in our marsh tiles. So if you look here now, these have changed massively. These marsh tiles have all went up by 1 production and a science. So all of a sudden, these tiles that were okay before, they weren't amazing, but they're okay, have now become pretty good. Because if our citizens start to work those tiles, which is already working this one because of the rice, we'll get extra science. So that Edamananki has increased our science per turn considerably, and will increase it more the more our city grows, and the more of these tiles we work, the more science we'll get. So we should be ahead of our enemies in that regard. For now, what am I going to go? I could build any of these really, like the library, more science, granary, food, watermill, food and production. Growth would be great for me right now, but I would also like to start firing out settlers. Okay, I have that settler bonus. Yeah, I'm going to start settling cities, I think. So in order to do that, right now if you look at my settlers, 4 turns to complete. If I go to my governments, no, I'm not going to bother doing this yet. Problem is that if I hit this unlock for 35 gold and go to change these, I'll actually have a turn of anarchy, which I don't want to do. A turn of anarchy is a turn where nothing happens. You know, your production doesn't happen, your science doesn't happen, and I don't really want to waste a turn right now, especially considering my settlers are 4 turns. So all that'll be doing is reducing them to 2 turns. If there were 10 turns, I was reducing them to 5. That would be worth it. But for now, I am just going to bite the bullet, and once every time you unlock a civic, so in 6 turns when I unlock a civic, then you get a chance to change your government for free without the anarchy. So I will do it then in 6 turns. I will change my government and I will get that settler bonus. Now, we haven't seen this on the map yet, but I've just unlocked an iron resource. Unfortunately, it's right beside Akkad, which often happens because it is a military city, so often they actually end up with iron and such beside them. It's probably too close to them for me to settle beside it. I may still send a settler down here to see if I can get it, but I'll decide in time. There's another iron. That's more on its own at least. Gonna heal this guy. So what we did there, we just advanced to the classical era as it showed there on the screen. This happens a few times through the game where you're essentially advancing into the next era of kind of human history. Now, when that happens, you're able to click here, make a dedication. So we have current age normal. The world has entered the classical era. Okay, now it gives us options here for what to choose. Now, depending on what you choose here, I haven't talked about golden ages or era score or anything yet. For each turn, this is, I believe this came out in the Gathering Storm update, but I could be wrong. What you get to choose here is the dedication it's called. And if you read these, free inquiry dedication bonus, gain +1 era score each time you trigger a Eureka, +1 era score for constructing a building that provides science as a base yield. Now what era score does is, if you look here in the bottom right hand corner, I'm going to pick this top one because I Eureka a lot and I will continue to Eureka a lot. I could also pick this one because I also get a decent amount of inspirations, but for now that last one is pointless for me because for each time you convert a city to your founded religion, because I haven't founded a religion, I'm not going for faith at all. So I'm going to go for free inquiry. So that's +1 era score. What the era score is, if you look down here in the right hand corner, era score 18 out of 32. So if I beat, once you mouse over it here, I'm 18 at the minute. I have to get 32 to avoid a dark age next era. Or if I get over 46, I will get a golden age. Now, dark age obviously is bad, golden age is good. You get bonuses for being in a golden age, you get negatives for being in a dark age. You should always, and again, I will discuss them in greater detail down the line. Once I actually get one of each, I'll talk about them then. But essentially, you want to be getting your era score up, so you want to choose that free inquiry, see there at the bottom, free inquiry dedication bonus. You want to be choosing that dedication that works for you and the gameplay that you're going for. As it is, if you're a new player, I would say go for the one I've went for, the Eureka, because you should be pushing for those Eurekas and for research anyway. Now, I will again discuss that in greater detail. If you see that middle line there, each of your citizens exerts 1 loyalty pressure in the city. I will also discuss loyalty in greater detail down the line. I just don't want to talk about all these things in too much detail too early, and it'll just melt your head if all this is brand new to you. It'll be too much to take in, because I'm speaking from experience. When I started the game, all of this was, I was like, whoa, this is a lot. This is quite the in-depth game. So as I say, we'll get to that when the time comes, but for now you just need to be concerned with trying to get your era score up as high as possible. If you don't get a golden age, no big deal, because there's just a normal age in between that, which is what I'm in now. But if you're in a dark age, you will notice the drawbacks of it, and it'll really hinder you early on. What I'm going to go for next is sailing. We don't have the Eureka moment for it, unfortunately, but sailing is going to allow me to actually scout further out here, because it'll mean my guy can get on the tile, I believe. Yeah, it says, allows builders to embark, possibly not. Technology tree. Or sailing. Do I need the other one? Shipbuilding. Allow all land units to embark. So ultimately I want to actually get shipbuilding here. Allow all land units to embark on the sea, and that'll mean that my scout can actually run around here in the water and find out what juicy goodies are around here. Because this mountain range, it's not ideal for us, but at the same time I might plop a city just in here at some point, and it can control this whole area and be very, very safe from attack because it's surrounded by mountains. It also could potentially be my science city, because if you remember before, when I was building the campus, the science district, it got extra science for being beside mountains. So I could end up building a campus, say, in there, because there's 1, 2, 3, 4 mountains beside it, and that would be hefty. So that's what I'm thinking of at the minute, but we'll get there. We'll have to produce the settlers first, and we're 3 turns away from our first. Also 1 turn away from political philosophy, so we're going to get to discuss that much sooner than I thought we would. So this thing has come up a few times, and I haven't mentioned it deliberately by now, but what this is when you do things that give you an era score, this wee window comes up. It's just a way of showing it that you've done something fancy. So let others say what they will, but the real flourishing of classical era culture began with the discovery of political philosophy by Germany. So as I just said, we've just discovered political philosophy, and that has just given us an era score. So if you look down here, we will be 19 out of 32 political philosophy, 19 out of 32. So we've just went up 1. I'm going to heal. Actually, I'm going to promote this guy. And then I will be able to kill this guy, no problem. So now that we've got political philosophy, I will choose the next civic. We have the Eureka, or the what did I call it earlier? Yeah, I can't remember the word. I'll call it Eureka anyway. For both this military tradition and pantheon, drama and poetry. So only one we don't actually have is this, but that's the one I'm actually tempted to go for. Reason for this is I'm not big into going for culture, certainly not in this game anyway, in this particular playthrough. Um, Even though if I look at it, actually my guy is probably a cultural guy, but again, I will discuss leaders and such in the future once you understand it a bit more. But if you look at this guy is probably built for a culture victory. But there's also production here, so it's not. I'm not too worried. But as I say, I'll discuss leaders in great detail later down the line. For now, I am going to go for games and recreation. The reason for this is it unlocks the entertainment complex district here, which gives us amenities, and our city's growing quite quick, and it's quite likely, if we look at it here, a 4 out of 4 amenities at the minute, and that's because we've got one from Amber and one from Spices. So here 2 from Luxury Resources and then 2 from the Palace. I've got no other luxury resources to upgrade here. You know, coffee, 1, 2. I'll get coffee actually, so that's not too bad. But pretty soon, I think I'm going to run into difficulty here. I'm going to run out of amenities, and it's going to slow my growth. So if I build this, if I'm planning ahead and build this, then that'll give me an amenity as well. So this guy is going to explore for me. That does look like a place somewhere here. I'll place a city, I think, because I need those irons. Even if I don't get that one, I'll definitely get this one. If I maybe place here or here, I'll see. I'll explore the area a bit more. Now, what we have unlocked then, as I say, with political philosophy, is this ability to choose a new government. Now, as I said earlier, this has unlocked these 3 things, these 3 governments. Generally speaking, you know, it depends what type of victory you're going for, what one you pick this early on. If you look at this, all cities with a district receive +1 housing and +1 amenity. Now, I haven't discussed housing yet, but essentially it limits growth if you don't have enough housing. I have discussed amenities. Both those are pretty good. I also haven't discovered great people yet, but that's not bad either. Oligarchy then. All land, melee, and naval melee class units gain +4 combat strength. That's pretty big. +20% unit experience is also pretty big. And then this one, autocracy, +1 to all yields for each government plaza building, diplomatic quarter building, and palace in a city. So I do have a palace in my capital, so that'll increase the yields of that, which is good. I'm also intending on building a government plaza pretty soon, and each building and that's pretty big, but not for me yet. Plus 10% production towards world wonders as well. So that's something that I've already built one. 10% is a hefty chunk, and that would help you get out in front of anybody else if you were looking to build a lot of the wonders. For now though, because I have already threatened that I'll be a bit militaristic and maybe take over Spain and whatever else I've threatened before, I'm always inclined to go for the military one. Which, reading this, obviously this is military based, but even if you look at the 4 policy options that it gives you, the red ones are military, so this is giving you 2 military, this one's giving you no military. This one at the end can be any, so technically you could have 1 military there, but here you could have 3 military. So I am going to go for this for now anyway. I might change it. You always have the option to change it down the line. So there again, +3 era score because we've just adopted a next level government. So that's good. That'll bring us up to 22 down here. Now this allows us the option of selecting 2 more policies. Now, as I said before, military red is military policies, and the yellow is economic policies. The what color is that? The it's green, is it? Yeah, the green is diplomatic policies, and then wildcard is everything, one of any. So right now I'm happy enough with my combat strength when fighting barbarians, I think, because I'm still fighting a decent number of them. A +1 production in all cities isn't bad, but because I am in the middle of going mad for settlers, I'm going to put +50% production towards settlers. So I was producing a settler in 4 turns, now it should take 2 turns, so I should be able to spam out settlers really quickly. What I'm also going to do is, what's my other military slot going to be? Unit maintenance maybe. Production ERL, double experience for recon units. Yeah, no, I'm going to increase my production towards units. That'll be useful because when I'm spamming out my settlers, I'm then going to spam out a few units, particularly once I get iron. I'm going to spam out swordsmen and then maybe go looking for a fight. Then what else? Just These diplomatic policies are often linked into city-states on the envoys. If you look at this, so I mentioned before about envoys, and at the minute up here, one envoy, I get 3 influence points per turn, and then I get to choose an envoy and put him into one of the city-states to make them like me. This would give me an extra 2 influence points per turn. This one also, the first envoy you sent to each city-state counts as 2 envoys, so again, that's pretty good for making the city-states like you. I'm not so sure about those. I am going to go full production, and I'm going to put this one back in for the extra production. That'll be handy for my built-in settlers and stuff from my capital at the minute, but it'll also be handy once I actually settle the other cities. That'll give me an extra production to start off with them, which will be pretty nice. Again, it depends what gameplay you're planning and which of these you pick. Also, when you get to know the game more and you're actually choosing a game plan and stuff, this will also change what order you go for certain civics and certain research in, because they'll unlock. They're the things, it's the civics in particular that unlocks these, and you can go down a certain line in the civic tree to get certain policies here, and then that changes your whole game plan really. But for now, I'm going hard on production and a bit of military thrown in. So now that we've done that, sailing 1 turn away, our settlers 1 turn away. So what are we at? 26 minutes. What I'm going to do is, this is a natural time I think for me to, I'm going to sleep this guy, for me to cut this video off. Next turn we'll be producing a settler and discussing where to place him and such, and that will take a decent amount of time of explaining. So for now, as I say, I'm going to leave it here. It's been a pleasure. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and as usual, if you could give me a like or a subscribe, or preferably both, and leave me any comments below for any videos or particular games or particular aspects of Civ you would like covered. For now, I will leave you to it, and thank you very much. Goodbye.